Aww. Yes. Soothing real quick for the ponies. This is an article that came from a developer conference, right? And don't worry, we're getting into cameras, guys. You know, we gotta have some little remedy for the pony pain. Mainly about third party, perspectives and about like what they're seeing, on the PlayStation, Xbox platforms, PC from that sense. Nintendo's kind of like in its own lane with this. Um, I think when it comes to this, it's more about PlayStation, and I think we all can agree. So it gets interesting. So now that y'all are calm a little bit, except maybe if you're JTech or something, and this is where the music stops for now. Are we ready? Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, so this gets interesting. What I'm telling you too is there is a whole entire article dedicated to this. It gives you data that you're going to be like, whoa, this is what all of them are thinking right now. Not just what we've been focusing on, but what is the perspective outside of that in other departments? It gets very interesting. Are we ready? So if you guys don't know, Gamescom is this month. It's about to start. Nintendo will be showing up there too. This is good. We want a good Gamescom. Last year was like, but I think this year we can see a lot of games being announced by certain platforms going to their platform from Microsoft, going to Nintendo, from PlayStation going to Nintendo, from PlayStation to Xbox, from Xbox to PlayStation or to Nintendo. I mean, it's going to get very interesting. We don't know what type of reveals are also coming around the corner. So exciting times right now, and also insane times too, all at the same time, right? Like a damn Grand Cross. Metaphorically speaking. So Gamescom is set to start next week, and a survey sent to developers, we're going to get to that, as part of the DevCom Developer Conference has revealed some interesting information on the gaming industry. 32% of developers believe, let me do this at the moment, let's get back to the music, exclusivity will become less common altogether. Yeah, I'll zoom that in for y'all on mobile. We're at 150%. I'm zooming in for y'all, right? 32% right now is less common. While the majority believe 28% and 34% timed exclusives will become the norm. That's 100% for Sony. We see this right now, right? Limited timed exclusives. This is what they're telling you everything. Only 6% believe exclusivity will remain a core strategy. And you have to think about this. When they're talking about that, they're mainly talking about what they've seen on the PlayStation and Xbox realm. Nintendo, we're going to have to see later on. But right now, we know that there's no way that's going to happen. It's just not possible. But this is a good thing to think about of how they're viewing the industry as well. 96% of developers believe early access remains a viable strategy. They're making money off of it. 59% said it works within specific genres and communities, and 37% said it worked broadly. I know what they mean. Digital and physical premium games remain the most favored business, and that's where Nintendo wins. They said it's not happening right now. With 27% of those surveyed, 20% said paid subscriptions and 18% free to play. So they're battling it out in that degree, thinking between these two mainly. Yeah, you can put them here, but it's like, I think we know better. When it comes to AI, 33% of those surveyed prefer minimum AI involvement, while 32% said it's most valuable in code and production, and 11% said in art and animation. So we have 43% here, a part saying valuable in code and production and art and animation. I think when it comes to miscellaneous, helping you do stuff you don't have to waste extra hours and time on. It's really good for that, helping you mop up, optimize, and helping that a little bit, but not losing the human soul in any of that. And minimum AI involvement, I think that this is great. I think when it comes to all three of these, it can be looked at in a certain fashion. This definitely needs to be something that's more strict when it comes to you're not going to be a developer if you can't optimize the game to run. And then add AI to make it way better, not take a shortcut with the AI and avoid optimization and get it over time after you launch. It's like, no, we're going backwards. And then, excuse me, You're selling me and convincing me that I need this many specs because you released the Unreal Engine 5 that's broken, you released games that are not finished, and it makes people believe they need something like a 5090 when really you show something like Battlefield running on a Series S. And that's where I'm trying to say that you see what they're trying to do, but they know they didn't work. More competition, AMD is growing, getting closer to NVIDIA's face. You see they had to tank down prices because we're nobody buying that crap. Pay attention, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I be telling people about that. So I understand the aspect of AI. We've talked about that before. Use it the right way, but it's always something where corruption ends up falling in. The biggest concerns in the video game industry include economic and political uncertainty. I've been trying to tell people about that. The hijacking, right? Same thing with like the feminism carrying Jewing. They'll hijack you and trap you, get you to surrender. I tell people if you think politics, see the problem with it is that what is it going to do next? Like they're right, the political uncertainty that's also going to be going around in a lot of areas too. Like it's like it just never helps. You know what I mean? Market saturation. I mean, I think when it comes to certain things like that, people got caught up in the high. Not Nintendo, they didn't fall for this. They're always wise. They got caught up in the high and the COVID thing, and it's coming down. And I think that's crashing, and then it's saturating. No. It's just rebalancing. This is just rebalancing. You know what I mean? That wasn't reality. That was a bubble, and that bubble has popped. And rising development costs. 54% stated large-scale digital showcases are worth it. Mhm. However, 21% felt the costs outweigh benefits. It depends on who you are. Like the direct is going to work because that's how big they are. They've been doing it. They made it like that. And everybody followed their format. So it can work for stuff like that. But if you like coming on like some little developer and then you waste all those resources, realize it's not getting you what you need, I can understand that. It just depends. 8% said they're too crowded for real impact. That's what I mean, the vacuums. Like it may be tough. Digital format comes out as preferred buying habit with 59%. 22% said physical. So I want you to think about this. That's almost that's 82% that are still in the physical and digital. 19% chose physicals as the default. So nearly half of those surveyed, 46% see a shift towards cloud and digital first services, while 45% think consoles and PC will remain dominant. The survey was answered by 100 DevCom speakers. Interesting. And this is over here. You can come read this right here. And this is where we see it. DevCom 2025 reveals speaker survey results and announces new and interactive keynote sessions. So we read some important critical information highlighting right here is where we get to it. 33% respondents will like to see as little as AI involvement, right? That's where we saw political uncertainty. Now, going down here is where we saw the other part. What business model will dominate the future? They're saying digital physical will still be favorable in the future. And subscriptions are going to eventually beat free to play. I hope they do. Because at least I'm just getting to video games rather than just microtransactions all the time. Get out of here. I hate that crap and toxic communities because you got these broke degenerates that are just all around. It's just getting these communities and they just don't help at all. They're not community oriented. Not only does it make degenerate communities, but it also turns gaming into a gambling, psychological, exploited uh, system, right? Where that's what people think, and then all developers are basically focusing on ways to exploit you rather than making a good video game, and are giving you microtransactions and stuff that could be used on development that you could have earned through good content in the game. That's why I hate the free to play mentality because it also conditions people to think like that it's free, I can get on and do whatever I want. There's nothing past that. There's no paying. And then there's just, yeah, I might be thinking about gambling. And then you got all these toxic people. You see what I mean? All of it is garbage. And it's the meme and the jesting, and that's the highest purchases. It's like, I thought we were getting the video game content. I can understand if the game is really good and you have that as optional vanity, but that's not what ends up happening. And then look all over the gaming industry and see how many people are actually playing free to play games, but look at their habits and look what it's doing for the industry. Most of the time, it's not good because of what it does for the whole. You know what I mean? I still respect Fortnite to a certain extent, but not to the extent of what I was telling you about what they push. because like I said, now you got developers every single day because you know what it takes to maintain a live service game. Remember what they said at PlayStation? Remember what they're doing with Sony getting all these live operations? Remember what it takes to even maintain one? You got to work every single day, right? So when you constantly have the developers every single day focusing on ways to get you to buy microtransactions, the massive majority of their focus is not on gaming content. You see? That's why you always hit a dry wall real quick and you sit there waiting. When it could just be mass feeding you content, it's just the game is so good. Everybody's buying it and everybody's signing up for a subscription on there or whatever. You know what I mean? Because at least everybody was on an even model with that. I prefer the subscription even model, 15 a month for everybody, over the free to play. Any day of the week for certain reasons. Everybody knows. And I just explained some certain things. Now let's go back to the next thing. Is early access still viable? 96% believe it is. I honestly don't like that because once again, all you're doing is exploiting people's FOMO effects and making it impatient. And you could launch the game that day, but what you decide to do is charge them for more money. When did that become a thing? I don't like it. But that's working for the industry. But it's against us. Platform exclusivity is fading. Only 6% believe exclusivity will remain a core strategy. Most expected limited. So, Ponies, what do you have to say about that, man? Y'all are kind of in trouble. Yeah, because I think Sony may have been making things quite clear, right? It's once again, how more clear can this get for y'all? It's right here in front of your face. They're telling you PlayStation is going to share some of their games. And maybe something is going on. And maybe they're saying that because they know some things, right? And then the other parts, if Nintendo is included, they have to be for these lesser parts because that makes sense for them. Because they do stuff where it's like, damn, man, you getting better numbers than me on one platform, and I'm on 5 devices, man. What the hell y'all got going on over there? Share some of that celestial power. There's something's not normal there. But Disney has the same effect, but Nintendo's better because they don't. Yeah, not fucking weirdos. Anyways, most valuable use cases cited were code and production, 32%, and art and animation, 11%. Still, 33% preferred minimum AI involvement. See, developers themselves are saying, but I feel like there's this AI enforcement upon them, and a lot of them just do not like it. I think a lot of things that happened to Ubisoft was not because of a lack of talent, but because of all this weird stuff. And all of a sudden, they got broke apart because of that. And it's like, damn, you had everything you needed. It's not like you were missing anything, and then things still got destroyed. So it had to be something else, like outside of that. That's what I mean by like this backdooring stuff that we need to, nose ring mafia stuff we need to be aware of. I'm telling you, trust me, I know. So yeah, as we see, biggest industry challenge, guys. Why are they saying this? It's not like they came up to us at this. They said this privately. Politics and including economical and political uncertainty. They are worried about this. Market saturation and rising development costs. This is not a fantasy, this is very real. So we see this right here, and this also gives you the idea, since it's so much of a pain in the ass, we got to branch out. These cocksuckers are forcing us. Some of that stuff, I'm telling you, it's because they got to. Same thing with Valve. They got to. You're dealing with dark cults and principalities and people who know how to come in that can appear to be good, that have been in bed with far worse evil, and they come in with like this type of like agenda. I think you know what I'm talking about, to where they could capture these people's emotions and hijack them. And could some of these weirdos? Yes, they do exist. Obviously, I've seen this one guy. You see what I mean on Twitter? Talk about on Roblox how he caught all these people and they ended up silencing him. I'm like, wow, bro, y'all have completely lost my respect after that. See, that type of situation is real. It's not fake. You know what I mean? But they will be the type to play on that. But there's a deeper, darker, evil agenda behind it. If you give them one step, thank you. I'm about to take an evil mile or go an evil step. Just go really far. Now you let them walk miles of evil in front of you, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? That's why I think people, when Alex makes his content, other people make their content, is what they're talking about because you don't know their real plan. That just seems like an appearance, like I said, of appearing good. But if you check their history, you're like, yeah, no way. Don't let them in at any cost because you don't realize what you're going to be inviting in. But that's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is something I kind of had to add in. This is just more about Once again, the proof is in front of your face. Are you going to continue to run away from the truth? Maybe so. Later, y'all. Ponies, sit down. Peace.